Today's episode is brought to you by IWV Legal. If you've been involved in an auto accident or have a pending criminal matter, attorney Abdul O'Day can help you get through it all. Call 760-321-3632. That's 760-321-3632. Call IWV Legal today for your free legal consultation. That's 760-321-3632. All right, everybody, say it out loud with me. Episode 100. That's big news here. Really excited to hit this milestone. We couldn't do it without you guys, the listeners. We're continuing to see a positive increase in downloads. And although we're doing it for fun, it's nice to know people are continuing to listen. So thank you to everybody. And whether you like to come on, listen to our hot takes, make fun of us, we appreciate the listen. We got a monster show this week. We got a special guest, friend of the pod, Mr. Abdul. What's going on?
Hey, welcome everybody. Big ups to the guys from Say It Out Loud Sports. I mean, reaching 100 episodes is huge. It's a milestone for sure, and best of luck to you guys moving forward.
Appreciate you. And then I got Pete with us right now.
Yes, sir.
And
Episode
then,
100, baby.
Oh, big news. And then Bob will be with us after the break in a little bit to, we got to do our locks of the week. So, like I said, Monster Show, we got locks, we got fantasy studs and duds. Of course, we're going to preview the Week 3 games. But first, let's get into the Week 2 shenanigans that took place this past weekend. Abdul.
Yes, sir.
I'll start with you. What was the one game of the week for you this weekend?
So, there was a few games that stood out, and I know a couple of you guys are going to talk about some other games, but for me, that Thursday night game between the Washington football team, which, by the way, I still think is a ridiculous name, against the New York Giants, that has to be one of the bigger games of the week. You've got the defending East champs, Washington, going up against the New York Giants, both coming in 0-1, both needing a win. I thought that was the biggest game of the week.
Yeah, that was exciting.
The primetime games have been nuts.
It's been great. Great for TV, great for us as the fans, as the viewers. Like I said, both teams were coming in 0-1. Both teams needed a win. Washington falling in week 1 at home, playing again at home. They didn't want to obviously go down 0-2, both at home. The New York Giants, they were coming off of a week 1 loss against Denver. Denver's looking a lot better, so it's hard to call that one. Washington losing its quarterback on week 1 and starting with Taylor, is it Heineke?
Heineke.
Taylor Heineke for this week. No one knew really what to expect out of this kid. I mean, he showed a little bit last year, but, I mean, you got to give the kid some credit. 34 for 46, 336 yards, 2 TDs. He looked like a stud, especially on that last 2-minute drive.
All right, you mentioned the name of the football team. Do you have a preference? What would you name? Throw it off the top.
It's a hard call, but I don't want to sound ridiculous or whatever, but I
mean, I said
the Red Hogs.
I said the Murder Hornets when that was the thing.
Murder Hornets.
You remember that thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. You've been watching football for so long to just go ahead and flip the switch and change names. It's a tough sell. Obviously, that's a name that they thought would succeed, and here we are talking about them.
We should just rename it Heineke's team right now at this point.
Huge game. No, like you mentioned, huge game. If I'm a Giants fan, I'm sick. After going, the guy wasn't even offsides, but in the heat of the moment, the ref's going to throw it. He looked like he was offsides, and you can't review it.
It's a tough call, tough way to lose, especially since Washington's kicker missed the kick before the penalty. To go off like that. To me, I mean, Daniel Jones looked like a stud. I know he had some miscues, but that was a win for him, even though the team lost, with a QBR rating of 102, 249 yards passing, but I mean, rushing 95 yards. I mean, he came out on fire. He had some good, clean throws. Obviously, his receivers dropped some big passes. I'm sure Darius Slayton had a hard time sleeping that night.
Right.
Jones got wheels.
Yeah, definitely.
Quick.
Definitely. Promising to see a little bit of, a little more burst out of Saquon. Yeah. Maybe he increases his workload on in week 3, and we'll see what happens there.
All right, Pete, what do you got?
I don't know. I just noticed maybe a little Heineke slander on the Say It Out
we're gonna
Loud page.
trust me. We're gonna get to Heineke.
Okay, I just want to make sure that he's the real deal.
Stop. What's your game of the week? We'll talk about him. What's the game of the week?
The game of the week for me was the Cowboys-Chargers game. Unfortunately, Chargers didn't pull that one out. Dak did not have a great performance. It was I was looking for it to be a high-scoring game. Ended up being 2017. A couple unfortunate calls for the Chargers. Could have went the other way. Just kind of a disappointing loss, as a Chargers fan. Everybody else looked good. Cowboys looked good. I mean, both defenses showed up. But, it was a heartbreaker. That's all.
Yeah, I figured it'd be close. I figured it'd be a little bit higher scoring, like you said, but it was a fun game to watch.
Still nice to see Justin Herbert go over 300 yards.
That's like a given these days. Every time. It's crazy. He made that one brutal error when he threw the pick to right in the end zone.
Nobody's perfect except Tom Brady.
Except that fool's he's on a mission. A couple quick shout-outs. There's some other Titans-Seahawks was an insane game. Vikings-Cardinals, Kyler Murray put on a show. Mine was Chiefs-Ravens, though, another primetime game. It started off terrible. Lamar Jackson missed the touchdown on the first throw of the game to Marquise Brown, and then the next throw of the game he throws a pick six, and you're like, oh, here we go. Chiefs are going to roll him. But I have to give it to Lamar Jackson. He stayed in there. I'm always talking about how he can't throw. I still kind of feel the same, but he's a gamer, and he kept his team in the game, and they ran it down the Chiefs' throats. The Chiefs better fix that defense, all I know.
I think a lot of people were talking about, oh, this is a big game for Baltimore to win. And, yeah, to an extent, but, I mean, is anybody really going to be talking about this week if they meet again in the playoffs? And let's be honest, both teams are going to make the playoffs. That's my assumption anyways. Are they going to go back and say, oh, week 2, we beat the Chiefs so we can beat them again in the playoffs? You and I both know Chiefs are a different animal in the playoffs, and it's a good moral win for them. It's a good win for their record, but, come playoff time, that's where it's going to really matter.
Yeah, the Chiefs really have nothing to worry about. I'm not panicking at all.
Not to make the playoffs or anything, but they have to fix that defense. They gave, obviously the Ravens are a top 3 rushing team in the league. I think 1, 2 probably.
Well, now that they don't have any running backs.
That system. Lamar Jackson is just animal. I think they had 200-plus yards.
The Albertsons bagger can run in that system. You're absolutely right.
The disrespect to Latavius Murray.
They called Philip Madison to see if he'd be willing to come run the ball.
I guarantee he could put up at least 75-plus yards.
Shout out to my boy Philip.
All right. Definitely an entertaining week of football. With that being said, let's get into the biggest overreaction or underreaction, least talked about story that should be talked about more. Whatever you want from week 2. Abdul?
If we're sticking with the AFC West, you have to give credit for, I think people are giving an underreaction to the Las Vegas Raiders and Derek Carr. I mean, that team is leading the AFC West. They're 2-0. They beat 2 strong teams, in my opinion, Baltimore at home and then Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. Derek Carr is putting up some monster numbers, 28-37, 382 yards, 2 TDs with a quarterback rating of 126.2 in week 2. I mean, he's hitting 4 receivers, and each one of them has 5 receptions. That's huge to me.
Oh, yeah. The Raiders, I mean, they're talking about it a lot, but the narrative kind of right now, at least what I'm seeing, is they always start fast. Let's see him continue this in December. And
that's exactly what I was just about to say.
Well, you're a little biased. You're a Chargers fan.
I'm a little hater.
The key is their defense. If their defense continues to play like this, which I'm in the middle,
come on,
we'll see.
Nobody expected their defense to play as strong as they have in the last 2 games. And I'm not saying they played phenomenal, but they played stronger than people expected. So you got to give them a little bit of credit there. And again, to be leading, I know it's only week 2, but to be leading that AFC West, that tough AFC West is huge, even if you can do it just for 1 week.
Correct. So did you want to add on to the Raiders, though?
No, I'm not buying the hype train just yet.
All right.
It's still early.
All right. What's your biggest overreaction?
I don't know. It could be an overreaction coming from me. The Vikings blowing that lead against the Cardinals. I mean, is Mike Zimmer in the hot seat? I mean, that team's supposed to make the playoffs. That
team is stacked. I think Zimmer is on the hot seat. I think they were expected to at least compete in their division, and going 0-2, it's tough for them to crawl out of there.
I think their next game's against Seattle. So I mean that's a potential. Seattle's not a bad football team.
Yeah, It's bad because if they could have very easily be 2-0. The kicker missed the 37-yard field goal, straight in line, shanked it. The week before, Dalvin Cook fumbles it in field goal range in overtime, and they lose that one. So this team is definitely better than 0-2. But the story could very easily be the Cardinals blow the game against the Vikings, where the Vikings stayed in, because that game was insane.
That's
back
true.
and forth, back and forth. That's why I don't weigh too much on 1 week, but they got to get it together next week against Seattle. That's like almost a must-win for both teams, because Seattle just blew the game against Tennessee.
Correct.
They were up 14
That's
with
right.
8 minutes left, and they let Derrick Henry run wild. So massive game going into week 3. So definitely
Minnesota should steamroll them. I mean, they're at home. They haven't played at home in over 2 years.
It's their home opener.
Right.
Yeah, with fans. So, no, it could be the Vikings. Yeah. Mine's Taylor Heineke status, which I told you we'd get to Taylor Heineke. Everybody needs to pump the brakes on this kid. Washington fans are overconfident. I get it. He played his heart out. He showed he showed what he can do, but I think that's like his ceiling. There's a reason why Ryan Fitzpatrick won the starting job in Washington. There's a reason Dwayne Haskins was starting over Taylor Heineke last year. And now Haskins isn't even in the league.
So how many more weeks will it have to take for you to be convinced he's
I'm saying he'll be able to win games because their defense hasn't played up to their potential. They played well against the Chargers in week 1, not on third down, but overall they held Herbert, 20-17.
That's correct.
They played terrible against the Giants. I expect them to be better. I just think their ceiling is capped at 8-9 wins with Heineke at quarterback.
So you don't have them winning that division, obviously.
No, 2 years ago he was a backup in the XFL, not even like the CFL. He was a backup in Vince McMahon's startup football league or whatever. The Rock owns it. The league's gone now. He's a backup. He was a backup in the XFL.
So he's the next Kurt Warner. That's what you're telling me.
No, he was bagging groceries. Just pump the. All I'm saying, he's an average quarterback. He's not some guy.
So if they go into Buffalo,
they're not beating.
I mean, I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking here, if they go into Buffalo and beat them, and Heineke goes for 320 yards and 3 TDs.
If that happens, they have to. If he throws for 320 in garbage time, and if they win, and he looks solid, I'll give him credit.
Is it really Heineke looking good, or is it McLaurin making Heineke look good?
He makes every quarterback look good.
McLaurin's nice. So that's my take on Heineke. I had the Raiders written down too. We have to give credit where credit's due. I know a lot of Raiders fans are shouting from the rooftop right now.
I didn't say all that.
A lot of are you a Raiders fan?
I'm not. I'm actually. I try not to point to any specific team.
Okay.
If I had to, because I was born in Michigan, I root for the Lions. Unfortunately,
that's okay. You and Kevin Bitter. Shout out Kevin Bitter.
Go Kevin.
All right. Well, let's get into panic time.
And panic and fear spread through every corner of the earth like wildfire.
It sounds like the Purge music. I like it.
Right?
I love it. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a couple scenarios. You guys can grade it on a scale of 1 to 10 on how panicked the situation needs to be. First team, the Colts with Carson Wentz injuries. They got stuffed 7 times on the goal line. I think Jonathan Taylor got stuffed 3 times in a row. How worried? Their defense has even been struggling. That's supposedly like a strong suit of their team. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried should the Indianapolis Colts be?
Before you even said anything, I have panic number 1 is the Colts, and so I'm giving that a 10. 0-2, both losses at home. I know they played decent teams. Even the Rams are a tough team, but their next 3 games are on the road against the Titans, Dolphins, and Ravens. So for me, that's a 10. Panic.
Absolutely, 100% agree with that. They are in full panic mode right now. They're not going to make the playoffs. I'm announcing it right now. They're not making the playoffs.
I think I'm on board with Pete on that one.
That's not a playoff football team.
If they stay on this course, they're not going to make the playoffs.
And like Abdul said, that's a freaking tough schedule.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that schedule, but I went on another show, Off the Ball Network. Shout out to those guys. We do a show every Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. I was on there talking about the Colts are terrible. This is before this game even happened. I said the Colts are going to get whooped today. They played better than I expected, although the Rams did hike a punt off the side of the guy's leg, and that gifted them the lead. But now Carson Wentz has 2 sprained ankles. I've never heard of this in my life at the same time. He's wearing 2 walking boots, walking around. I don't get it. I've never it's they're in shambles. Panic 10, unanimous.
How smart do the Eagles look right now, though?
Right? Seriously.
All right, so Colts, we're all in agreement. Panic 10, they're not making the playoffs. That is not a team I'm going to eliminate quite yet. because we do the playoff eliminator later.
Oh, yeah.
We'll vote on it, but I agree. If we had to put them in there, I wouldn't be disagreeing. All right, next team, the New York Giants. You talked about them earlier on Games of the Week. I thought they looked okay.
I'm not panicking fully on them yet. I'll give it probably a 3 or a 4. I mean, obviously going down 0-2 isn't great, but you're playing in the NFC East. It's a weaker division. You still have a chance to win. Everyone else is really just a game ahead of you or a half a game because they're 1-1. Daniel Jones looks good running the ball anyways. He'll get better throwing the ball, and if Barkley can step up his game, I think they'll be all right. And, I mean, if Graham Cano keeps kicking 55-yard field goals, they're going to be in games.
I'm gonna give it about a 6. I mean, that division, like he said, it's pretty weak, but they got a couple little shiny pennies. They still got Saquon. They still got Daniel Jones. They'll be all right. I think they're going to be in games, but I don't think they're going to win a whole lot of games. I don't think they make the playoffs either. But I don't know. I mean, I guess if you had lofty expectations for them coming into this season, you were probably wrong.
They're only winning. They're only making the playoffs if they win that division.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on the same page as you. That division's really weak. I'd give it about 4 or 5. The defense has been playing. Last year they played great. They kept them in a lot of games. This year they're not playing any defense. The offense is looking better than it had last year, but now the defense is worse. So something's got to give. They got to get better defensively.
If you're not sold on Heineke and you aren't too impressed with the Giants, are you calling this a Dallas Cowboys division then?
Yeah, I said preseason. I said Dallas is winning the division, and Philly will make the playoffs as well in the second.
As a wild
so I had
card.
the Giants going, I think 6-11, 5-12 in that area. But like you said, lofty expectations. I didn't have lofty expectations coming into the season, but they don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I hope not. As a player, you probably do, but
I don't see them as a Super Bowl team.
No, not even close. But
again, they only make the playoffs if they win the division.
Yeah. So panic mode, 4 or 5, I guess. All right, last team, and this is specifically on the offensive side of the ball because their defense has played okay. The Pittsburgh Steelers. They have not performed very well offensively. They're 31st in the league in rushing again. They were last year. They drafted Najee Harris. They said they were going to address the offensive line, and they're not getting any push up front. Big Ben, obviously he's older, but they're just not getting the same production. It's weird.
It's tough. I mean, they win week 1 against a very, very tough Buffalo Bills team. They lose this week to what I think is a decent Raiders team. I'll put them at a 6 on the offensive side, maybe even a 7 for panic. Big Ben is showing his age. They did have higher expectations out of Najee Harris. The receiving corps isn't as strong as people expected them to be either. I'll put the offense panic 6 or 7.
Yeah, I'll probably second that. But, I would go as far as to say is they need Ryan Tannehill back there. They'd be a much better football team.
You want to put Ryan Tannehill on the Steelers?
I would put Ryan Tannehill back there, yeah.
What do you mean back there?
I would put him back. I mean, you said that Ben Roethlisberger is a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill, and there's no chance. Roethlisberger is showing his age. And that team does not look explosive on offense.
Is it time to call Cam Newton?
100%, I think so.
I think so. I said Pittsburgh needs to be the team to sign Cam just for next year. He can spend a year behind Ben, maybe even get in later if he continues down this path. I think it's a panic level 2. I think the offensive line needs more continuity. I mean, you got the center spitting on the other team, so that's bad to start with. But
right.
So you're riding Ben for the rest of the season?
Yeah. I think he'll be fine. They did this last year. And
when he gets hurt week 5 or 6, who are you going with? Mason?
Oh, if he gets hurt, it's a wrap.
What, they string like 11 games in a row?
Yeah. But they have ways to – I mean, they're not showing it right now. I don't know. I wouldn't panic yet. That defense is going to keep them in games. I think they'll get it together.
If they go 1-4 or 1-5,
oh, they're not. Yeah,
they
could.
If they go 1-4, 1-5, they call Texas.
Ben has a torn pectoral right now.
What are you, Adam Schefter?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying the Bengals
got breaking news.
The Bengals.
For the record,
the Bengals could come in and beat their ass.
For the record, I do not. That is not a fact. I've not heard that.
Yeah.
He was dropping doctoral facts.
Look it up. Google it, man.
I will. That's wild. So if you guys want to do
Bengals
research,
are about to come in and beat them.
Oh, this was going hot.
Next week there should be a Pete's injury report.
Just make it up.
A torn pectoral.
So Carson Wentz is
Call
pregnant
Texas
with
and
his
see if
tankles.
they want to do something with Deshaun Watson.
Two
If they don't want
cankles.
to call Cam Newton.
I think they should kill Cam just even for next year because this is Ben's done after this year, and if they're going into next year with Mason Rudolph, we got problems.
I'm with you on that, I guess.
All right. Well, that's it for Panic Time. I want to say thank you to Abdul for dropping
You're
by.
welcome. Thanks
Sharon.
for having me, guys. It's
Sharon.
been a pleasure. Like I said, hopefully you guys reach episode 200.
That's the plan. So after the break, Bob's going to be coming in. We'll get right back after a word from our sponsor. Had a long day? Need a drink to unwind but not sure what to get? Head over to the Beer Cave, where they have options galore on craft beer, imports, hard seltzers, and many more. The Beer Cave is located at 841 North Downs here in Ridgecrest, right next to Bernardino Restaurant. Go there and walk into their huge beer cave, cool off, and grab a cold one. All right, boys, we got Bob back. Abdul's gone. Bob's here.
I'm here. I'm in.
Let's get to before we get to our week 3 games of the week. We got to do the playoff eliminator. We did the Jets last week.
Yeah.
No, Jaguars.
Jaguars last week.
This week has to be the Jets, right?
I'm on the Dolphins.
You can't eliminate the Dolphins.
Have you not seen their team?
You want to eliminate the Dolphins over the Jets?
35-0.
No, just listen to what you're just biased right now. Hit that. Come on.
That's not biased. That's real. I think they're in the most trouble.
The
bias button.
Zach Wilson just threw 4 interceptions in 2 quarters.
That's fine. He's got 4 on the season. Trevor Lawrence has got 5. I don't hear you're trying to get him benched.
So out of any NFL team,
The Dolphins are in the worst shape.
I'm not.
They don't even have a quarterback now.
They're in the worst shape.
You got Jacoby Brissett out there to lead them.
Jacoby Brissett can win football games with that defense. Stop it. This will said the Dolphins. I'm not.
You're
out.
You're eliminating the Jets.
You're out.
The Jets probably have the worst football team in football, period.
Are they worse than the Giants?
I would 100% agree.
The only reason I'm going with the Jets over the Giants is the division they're in, because I think the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Patriots are not going to let the Jets pass all 3 of them.
Well, I
in the
mean,
playoffs.
by any means, might let anybody pass them.
I
They let a lady in a wheelchair pass them. Right.
I agree the Jets are gone.
okay. So 2 against 1. Dolphins
Yeah, all
stay
right.
for
You
another
guys-
week.
we'll wait till next week.
Every week, this dude's picking the Dolphins. It's going to drive me nuts.
How bad are they?
Jacoby Brissett, you hate him?
I don't hate them, but
He hates Tua, still from Alabama, and hurts. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, one of them's good. One of them's out the league already. Mac Jones out there.
Just a sigh.
Just insane right now.
Tua.
All right, let's get to week 3. So Jaguars and Jets are out. Dolphins still alive. All right, so, let's get in. Biggest games of the week. Bob, what's your biggest game of the week?
I'm going Monday Night Football, baby. Prime time.
Who
Go
plays?
ahead, hit the button.
Who's playing?
Eagles, Cowboys, baby. Division rival game. Let's go. One of these teams is winning the division. This is the first matchup of the season. I think this is going to be a good game. Monday Night Football.
Shootout.
Let's go.
All right, Eagles, Cowboys. I kind of agree. I am intrigued.
I had the other game I liked was Buccaneers, Rams.
All right, well, I'll go next. That's going to be my biggest game of the week. Bucks, Rams.
Okay.
The line's crazy. +1 at the Rams.
It's so
It's
misleading.
Fishy. Super fishy.
It's a trap.
Possibly.
I don't
We'll get
know.
to locks in a little bit. We'll see
Tom
if that's
doesn't
on there.
get trapped.
But Bucks, Rams, huge game. Everybody's big on the Rams this year. They're 2-0. You go the Bucks, they're 2-0.
Stafford has not disappointed.
This could be a potential
Right.
NFC championship game preview. 1 o'clock Sunday. Huge game. Massive implications. Stafford looked pretty good last week.
They're 2-0, right?
Yeah, they almost choked the game away against the Colts, but
I
Tampa
think
Bay.
Carson Wentz sprained 2 ankles somehow at
You
the
look
same
at
time.
you look at Tampa though. Their defense has not been playing great. Yeah, they caused those. They were up by 3 on the Falcons, 28-25 midway through the third quarter. Kind of weird. The Falcons, who just lost 35-3 against your Eagles.
Yeah.
Weird.
Eagles defenses look great, though.
I mean, it's okay to take some games off, but this kind of gives me the vibe of that Saints Bucks game last year.
Do you think there's a chance the Bucks just go out and shit it? Just
Yeah.
no good?
Good pass, yeah.
Like put up 14 and lose by 20?
Rams are going to be fired up. They're at home.
To me, this
Bucks?
is a big test for Matt Stafford. Like everybody was high on Matt Stafford. They're 2-0.
This is the reason why they got him.
So this is the first real big test. He don't even have to win this game. If he's in the game, if it's like a 38-35 game,
Yeah.
it's good for it. Like everybody's gonna be like, all right, we got to. We're contending. We're a contender. We almost beat the returning Super Bowl
I'm going to
champs.
go. I'm going to say this isn't part of my lock, so I'm just going to say it now. I think the Rams win this game. I think this is a game where it's like the Rams are going to be so pumped up for this game, a home opener. Like you said, reason why they came and got Stafford.
This.
If anything, if I had to take a side, I'm taking the Rams. But I'm not
Based on the line,
I'm
I
not
think you
betting
have
this.
to.
I'm not betting this game.
Just based on the
not
line
touching
being one, it's almost like why? Like you would almost have to take them.
Yeah. All right, Pete. What's your game of the week?
I
think I know.
Vikings Seahawks.
I almost went. I like that.
Yeah, Vikings Seahawks. Just because Mike Zimmer's in the hot seat. If they don't win, I really believe that. I think you got to start questioning Mike Zimmer and that. Just the Vikings. I mean, like you said though, they could easily be 2-0.
But they're not. That's the
But
problem.
they're not, and that's the problem.
If you can easily be 2-0 and you're not, that comes down on your head coach. That's an instant reflection. Like that's the guy's taking the heat.
Yeah, you got to win those close games.
Usually it's the quarterback and the coach. Kirk Cousins put them in positions to win.
The missed field goals, that's a win if the field goal kicker kicks and makes a field goal. You know what I mean?
Well, then you mentioned Seattle, too. Seattle's kind of in the same boat. They just massively blew the game against Tennessee.
Right.
And they're in that division with everybody else is 2-0.
Yeah. That's
Like, yeah.
And that
Rams,
division looks
Niners.
like they're all going to win 12 games. So
Exactly.
you better not lose too many.
So, yeah, that's a big game for both teams. And we definitely, I'm proud of you because you didn't pick the Chargers-Chiefs game. But that's another one that's must-watch TV.
That's a game where you almost, if you had to pick a side, I think I would take the Chargers side in this game.
Yeah, I'm feeling down about that loss. That's why
Deflating?
I didn't take it. Yeah.
Is it hurt extra bad because it was against Dallas?
It was against the
That's
Cowboys.
why.
In L.A.
That's what makes it sting
That
the
hurt.
worst.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to lose the Cowboys.
Are you guys going to be back-to-back stingers?
No.
Cowboys beat the Chargers and beat the Eagles.
They're not
Monday night.
beating the Eagles. Stop.
And then I'll shout out Green Bay, San Francisco. Another primetime game. It's going to be wild.
Aaron Rodgers
looked-
absolutely put the trolls in a trash bag, so get out of here.
I mean, yeah. First half was wild.
They were down 17-14?
Yeah, it was wild. So yeah,
I'm still not that high on the Packers though yet. I don't know.
So if
that wasn't very convincing to me.
If he has to play that
was
good
the
to win
Lions.
football games, it's going to be a long year.
all right. So Bucks, Rams, Eagles, Cowboys, Chargers, Chiefs, Niners, Packers, and
Vikings, Seahawks.
Vikings, Seahawks.
All great games. These are all great games.
This whole season is just going to provide great games. I feel like.
Every week, it's because there's so many good. Like
And it's
everybody's
early.
got good. Just like offenses are wild right now.
Like I don't know who's good right now. It's been week 2 weeks, and who looks?
could
The Raiders
say, like-
probably look the best team in the NFL right now.
Oh, the Bucks.
Bucks.
No, but the Raiders have the Bucks defenses look trash against Dallas, and even Atlanta they didn't look that great. Raiders have been almost flawless so far. I feel like they look the best.
Oh, I mean they're.
I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm saying who on your eye test right now, the Raiders look damn good just based on 2 weeks. Not expectations.
I mean, they look good.
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah. Cardinals look
Cardinals are
lights
up there.
out. Their defense
beat
and
Tennessee
their
and
offense is
Minnesota.
their defense and their offense is rolling.
The Broncos played
I
Jaguars.
think the
and
Niners
Jets.
look good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think they played
not
up to their
sold.
potential. They're
No.
2-0.
I mean they look okay. I just
Their
think
defense is.
yeah. They're okay. I'm not super thrilled with their performances so far. I mean, they were losing to the Eagles for the whole first half, even though I like the Eagles, but
I'm just.
they couldn't move the ball.
They haven't played up to their potential, but I think they're a really good football team.
yeah. All right. So that previews the week 3. So let's get to the time. There we go. Locks of the week. Last week, again, we gave out 7 picks. We had 2 double locks. We did go 1-1 on the double locks. Me and Bob had the Packers last night. It was looking sketchy there for a minute. You guys had the Saints, which just I mean, we didn't know.
I did not
to be
realize
fair,
we didn't get the memo that the entire coaching staff
Right.
wasn't going to the game.
Exactly.
That's kind of.
They were missing what 10.
Well, I don't get how you throw the
Crazy.
throw the ball 22 times and your running back touches it 7 times. Where did the ball go? Were they just punting on first down?
Panthers
Who
defense.
got the ball? I'm lost
Sad.
still. I have to go back and watch the game. Is this 3 and out?
No, don't watch it.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was just right out the gate. It was bad. So double locks on the year, 1-2. We're 6-8 as a group. I'm 3-3, and you guys are 2-4 each. Pat's locks of the year are 1-0. The Tennessee Titans took care of business. They won outright, even though I was very nervous for most of that game. So let's get back to it, Bob. So we're gonna mix it. We're gonna do it a little bit different this week. We're gonna read all three of ours. You go
all
3,
three?
you go 3, and I'll go 3.
Okay.
All right.
So
my
Bob,
first
go ahead.
one is going to be the Titans -5 against the Colts, who I think are in shambles. They're going to be starting to back up quarterback. Titans coming off a rolling win. Derrick Henry
Yeah,
with
they got momentum.
182 rushing yards. I think he had 240 total yards, like 4 touchdowns, 3. And that's my first one.
Okay.
Second lock, I'm going to go with the Cardinals -7.5 against the Jaguars, who we all can agree are looking like a top 3 pick in the NFL for the draft next year.
Yep.
Absolutely. And my third pick is going to be the Buccaneers -1. Pat hates that.
No.
Pat hates it, but I'm taking him. I just don't see Tom Brady's on just rolling right now. If he throws 4 touchdowns, I don't see how they lose the game. And he's done that to 4 straight games?
Yeah, no, he's definitely the offense. I'm not worried about. It's the defense. I think Stafford's going to have wide open receivers all day again. So I'm not mad. I hope the Bucs win because the Rams are in my division, and I love Brady. You know that.
Yeah.
So I'm all for the Bucs win. And I'm just staying away from that one. All right, so you got Titans -5, Cardinals -7, and Bucs -1. Pete.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and change it up a little bit here. Apparently, I'm 2-4 right now.
Yep.
And I haven't done any over-unders, so all 3 of my locks this week are going to be over-unders. I got Bengals versus Steelers under 47. I think both teams, they're not very explosive on offense. Big Ben with that torn pectoral or hurt or whatever. I think that game probably going to end up, 24-0. Maybe in the Bengals' favor. I think it's going to stay under 47 points.
Bold prediction right there, Todd.
If that
is
happens,
a bold prediction, Todd.
24-0 Bengals?
That's
Or
a
24-20.
Oh, I
was like,
damn.
Shutout? That's
Pick
a
up
bold
Cincinnati's
one.
defense right now.
24-20.
Jesus.
Okay, 24-20
Yeah,
under.
and then next game I got Chicago versus the Browns under 46.5.
I almost took that game.
So I think it's going to be end up same case scenario. They're going to run the ball a lot, which means that the clock's going to keep running.
Keep it under.
Yep, I'm going to say that one goes under. We'll say 41 total points.
Okay.
24-17. And we got Philly
Bears.
versus Dallas. I'm going to go over 51.5. I think that game Monday night, I think both teams show up offensively.
Like
I think it's going to
48-3.
be an absolute shootout. I'm going to say 31-27 final score.
Eagles, right? Or you keep that to yourself?
Cowboys.
I was thinking like 48-3 Eagles, maybe.
All right, so 2 unders and an over. I like it. I've 0-2 on totals. I took the overs in 2 games. Crap to bed. So, all right. So that's Pittsburgh, Cincinnati under, Chicago, Cleveland under, and Dallas, Philadelphia over. So there we go. So my 3. Bob's going to love this one.
He's going Dallas instantly.
Bob's going to love this one. I'm taking Miami +3.5 at the Raiders. I'm not.
You just hyped the Raiders to the max.
This is such a trap line. Everybody's going to be on the Raiders. I think the Dolphins are going to rely on that defense. I think they can hold the Raiders down. They're going to not the cornerbacks from Miami aren't just going to allow Henry Ruggs to run by him. Xavier and Howard, Byron Jones.
No, Byron Jones, he's always.
I wouldn't be surprised if the defense scores a touchdown this game and keeps them in it. Even if they start Jacoby Brissett, he's going to have a week to prepare for the game.
He don't turn it over either.
He's not going to. He did, but he came in cold.
Right.
He's going to have a week to prepare, like he's playing. And I think the Dolphins will have a good game plan. Brian Flores is a really good coach, so I think they keep it close. I could see them even winning this game. I know Raider fans aren't going to like that, but I think the Dolphins at least keep it close. They were awful on third down last week. The
Raiders
score,
tend to play down to opponents too.
and also the Dolphins were terrible on third down, and they got embarrassed. Most times when you get embarrassed, you bounce back a little bit the following week. So I think it keeps it close. So I'll take Miami +3.5. Second game, Packers +3.5 at San Francisco. I'm not happy with San Francisco's defense. They've played the Lions and the Eagles. They did well against the Eagles, but Jalen Hurts is still he's not Aaron Rodgers.
No, he was running all over though.
So I think this game is probably going to be a little bit of a high-scoring game. I think San Francisco is going to have to open up their offense. They're not going to be able to just run it down Green Bay's throat. I mean, the Lions kind of did in the first half yesterday, but they're not going to hold the Packers to 10 to 17 points. Packers are going to put up 24 to 27 points, I think. And so I think the Niners are going to have to open up too. But I think the Packers go in and win this game. I'm going to take the 3.5 just to be safe. So I got Miami. I got Green Bay +3.5. And then my last game is going to be the New York Giants. They're at home against the Falcons. I think the Falcons played out of their minds against Tampa. I wish it was 2.5, but I don't like pushes. But I'll take the Giants -3. I think they showed life against the Washington football team. Their offense looked a lot better. I still believe their defense is going to improve from what it's been shown, and I just think Atlanta's pretty bad. I think Atlanta's not good at all.
No, Atlanta sucks.
Yeah. And, I just think the defense, I'll take the Giants at home. So I got Miami +3.5, Packers +3.5, and I got the Giants -3. So 9 picks this week. No double locks this week.
Didn't get to try out that new button.
Yeah, no double
Dang
locks.
it.
So I'll run through them one more time for you guys. We're going to have a big week. Titans -5, Cardinals -7.5, Bucks -1, Pittsburgh Cincy under 47, Bears, Cleveland under 46.5. Dallas, Philly over 51.5. Then Miami, Packers, and the Giants all. Giants -3, and the other two are +3.5. So that's at 9 picks. Let's get to. I'm going to get Riot in here real quick. We'll do the father-son pick'em, and then after that, we'll get to fantasy studs and duds. All right, let's get into the father-son pick'em. What's going on, Riot?
Hi, Dad.
You're coming off an 0-5 week. So if people listen and they faded your picks, that's a nice little 5-team parlay. So keep that in mind. 0-5 is better than 2-3 for betting purposes. So let's get into this. I'm 5-5 on the season. Riot's 2-8. Long way to go, though. First game. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Washington at Buffalo, -10.
Buffalo.
Okay. I'm on Buffalo as well. Next game. Los Angeles Chargers at Kansas City, -7.
Chargers.
Okay. I'm on the Chargers as well. Chicago at Cleveland, -7.
Chicago.
Okay, I'm different there. I'm taking Cleveland -7. Tampa Bay at Los Angeles +1.
What was it again?
It's Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Oh, you don't even want the other team?
No.
Just stay with the Bucks?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm taking the Rams +1. Last game, the Philadelphia Eagles at Dallas -4.
Dallas.
Dallas? Okay. I'm taking Dallas also. So we're the same on that. We both got Dallas. We both got the Chargers. And we both got Buffalo. And we're different on the Rams-Bucks game and the Cleveland and Bears game. How you feeling about your picks this week?
Good.
You going to do better at 0-5?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what's up. We'll see you next week, man. All right. You're good. You're good. Anything to say?
No.
Okay. As usual. Man of few words. All right, let's get into some fantasy football. Shout out Bob. He won the Denver Broncos future ticket in the Say It Out Loud League. $1,900. You just, all you want at this point is them to make the playoffs.
Make the playoffs. And then I'll sell the
Still
ticket.
tough division.
I'll sell the ticket instantly.
So
to a
those of
Denver
you
Bronco
listening,
fan.
this week's contest is the slimmest margin of victory. Whoever wins by the smallest margin wins the ticket. The ticket is a Browns 14-1 ticket, valued at $375 if they win. So Browns ticket, legit chance.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's get into studs and duds for week 3. Last week, we did not. I feel like we're going to argue about this for a minute, though. Studs, we had Baker Mayfield, not a stud.
No.
Not a stud.
Javonte Williams, not a stud. He needed to get in the end zone. Didn't do that. And then Trey Sermon had 8 yards, so he was not a
He
stud.
didn't even. I don't even. He didn't play.
He had 1 carry for 8 yards.
That was an 8-yard average.
Let's talk about my dud.
Yeah, we're getting
The guy
that.
just went bonkers.
Ooh.
Derek Carr.
Oh man, he's leading the
So-
league in passing right now.
How are we grading the duds? Is projected point under projected points?
That's
How
a
do you want
dud.
to do it? If it's under, right?
If you're under, yeah,
Okay, so Derek Carr had 7 more points than he was projected.
that's a stud.
You had Chris Carson.
Uh-huh.
And based on his projections, he was a dud.
was.
Even though he had two touchdowns.
But he didn't have any yards.
No, he had 30 yards.
Yeah,
he
he
would have
couldn't
been a complete dud. He got set up twice on the 1 yard line.
That's the
Got
thing,
it.
though. If he doesn't get set up twice on the 1 yard line, he's scoring 3 points.
He still was a dud, according to his projections. So that counts. Russell Wilson was my dud. He was the second-ranked quarterback going into the
Where did
week.
he finish? 5th?
9.
9?
Still a dud. He finished lower than his projected point total. And if it wasn't for the one was completely a broken play. The one to Freddie Swain.
Oh, yeah.
80 yard. No one's guarding him. So I'm still sticking. We went 2-1 on duds. We went 1-2 on studs. So we're 4-4 for the year. Four wins, 4 losses. So that's how we're grading it. Projections above or below. That's how we'll just make it simple.
Sounds correct.
So I don't want to look up rankings every week. All right, Bob.
First, my stud?
Stud and dud.
My stud is going to be Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who just went.
For a 0 burger.
He went for a 0. Going into this week, he's projected like 7.5. I think he doubles up that number. I think Rodgers missed him a handful of times. He shouldn't have had a dud. He missed him a handful of times.
Yeah, I started him.
Oh,
just for
yeah.
the
A
record.
lot of people did. But he bounces back
0.
this week against the
So
Niners.
embarrassing.
It was bad.
I can see that happening, though. All they got to do is connect once.
Yeah,
He's
one
gonna-
80-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
He's already a stud.
Right. Yeah, I think he bounces back.
All right, who's your dud?
My dud is going to be Brandon Cooks.
He's been playing well.
He has, but they're going to Davis
This is
Mills.
Thursday night game.
Yes, they're going. Now they're going to Davis Mills, the rookie. I don't think he's had a lot of time with the first team. I don't see Brandon Cooks really performing well. I think they're going to try and run the ball a lot, trying to not put it like in a shootout on Davis Mills. So I just don't see Brandon Cooks having a ton of opportunities to even have a big game.
And Carolina's defense has been really good this year.
Yeah. So
All right,
that's my
so
guy.
and Marquez Valdez-Scantling is the stud. Brandon Cooks is the dud. Pete, who you got?
I got Daniel Jones, who's a QB 13 right now versus the Falcons. I look for him to torch the Falcons like everybody else has. So I think he'll probably eke in there, and
He's a fifth or sixth ranked quarterback right now.
He has the yards and the
is
touchdowns.
he?
In
Yeah, because
fantasy.
he uses his legs.
Yeah, 90 rushing yards.
Well, he broke off. He should have more. He had a 65-yarder called back that he scored on.
Oh, I forgot.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
He was skating
Like
down the
200
sideline.
rushing
So I don't know. I think Daniel Jones does the same performance he did last week and doubles his projected points.
Okay, so that's stud EJ.
I'm going to go dud Mike Evans against the Rams. I think Rams lock him up this week. I don't think there's nothing else to say about that. I think
Jalen Ramsey, he's putting him in the Warden Ramsey from last year. He owns DK Metcalf.
Yep, I think he has a similar performance, like a week 1 performance.
That's fine with me. Gronk will just keep eating.
Gronk's been a monster.
Dude.
We'll get to some more fantasy stuff in a minute. So my stud this week's going to be on the Giants, Kenny Golladay, playing the Falcons. He's been kind of a no-show. He's wide receiver 31 this week, and he's playing Atlanta. He's projected 14.64. I'm going to say he's getting 30.
Woo.
Damn.
Yeah, I think he gets in the end zone twice, six catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's my prediction.
That's not.
That's my
That's
stud.
a bold prediction, Cotton.
That's doable.
That's my guy, Kenny Golladay, especially after he's yelling on the sideline. He yelling at Jason Garrett. He wants the ball. Throw him the ball.
He's yelling at Daniel Jones.
He came out and said he was mad at Garrett, but he was like venting to
Daniel
Jones, and we'll see what happens. But no better get right game than against the Falcons.
So
Right?
they're just going to force feed him.
This is where you get your showcase against the Falcons.
Yeah. My dud is going to be Alvin Kamara. He's at New England. He's the second running back on the board right now. I just don't see it. He didn't do anything against Carolina. Now you're going to go to Belichick, who takes out the best player every time. He has no Michael Thomas to worry about. You got Callaway and Troutman and Taysom Hill, but no. Kamara's they're game planning specifically for him. They want Jameis Winston throwing the ball. I just don't see Kamara anywhere near the top of fantasy boards. I'm going to say outside the top 15. And he's definitely finishing below his projection.
Yeah, he's projected a ton.
All right, so there we go. Studs, Daniel Jones, MVS, Kenny Golladay. Duds are Mike Evans, Alvin Kamara, and Brandon Cooks. All right, biggest fantasy surprise so far this season has to be...
Mine's Rob Gronkowski. This guy is like 4 straight games of 2 touchdowns. Like, dude, he's on a tear. Coming into Sunday, I'm guaranteed. I'm just already counting his 2 touchdowns he's going to score this week. It's wild. He's on a tear. He's like 1 or 2 at tight end in the league.
He, continues this?
I don't. Nobody can stop him.
Why not? Right?
Did you see him talking to Cameron Brate? Asked him. He said, "Do you ever?" Because they're in the rooms, all like weight room, and he said, "Do you ever watch film?" And Gronk was like, "No, I just run past.
Guys. I love that.
That's my
He's a
thing.
goat.
He is. I think he's the best.
It's not even close.
It doesn't hurt to have Tom on your team most of the
No,
year.
right now Gronk's easily the GOAT. Kelsey's probably going to catch him at some point.
I feel like their game, like Brady's like forcing him the ball right now.
No,
he's trying to get him like a 25 touchdown season and just be like, he's the GOAT.
I don't know.
Trying to chase that.
I don't even think he's forcing it because he's only catching like 4 or 5 balls. But I think once they get in the red zone,
he's
so comfortable with what works that it's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, dude, he's running 7 yards past the linebacker, turning around, the ball's in his hands.
Yeah.
It's like it works.
Who you got? Same?
Like biggest surprise?
Surprise.
Gronkowski, like surprise in a good way or surprise in a bad way?
It could be. Well, we have the biggest bust coming up next, so biggest surprise is probably good.
Who's been doing well is Sterling Shepard. I really did not expect him to, with all the Galladay hype
and
around
Saquon
him.
back.
Yeah, and Saquon back and all this. Shepard's been a stud. I think he's, got over 20 points in both of his weeks. He's been catching, 7, 8, 9 balls and getting close to 100 yards.
It's definitely, I can agree with that. I have Gronk written down, but I'll go Daniel Jones. We talked about him a minute ago. He's a top 7 quarterback in the league right now, not turning the ball over.
And no, he's not even rostered in a lot of leagues.
Jones, I know. I saw him. He's going to be a big waiver wire pickup this week.
Right. A lot of the 10 or 12 team leagues, he's not even rostered. Yeah.
And then another guy I want to mention is Mike Williams. I mean, he's always been touchdown or bust kind of, but this year he's getting targets and he's making people pay. So shout out Mike Williams. All right, biggest bust so far.
I'm going with Zeke. Tony Pollard is absolutely outperformed
Yeah.
him. And that's not being biased. That's just like this guy's
100%.
supposed to be like top 3, top 5 running back, and he's being outperformed by a guy that's getting a third of the touches. Like that's.
He didn't have a bad game last week. Pollard does look faster and more explosive, but
Pollard's had 100 and a touchdown.
Yeah, Zeke had 70 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Plus some. We'll see how it plays out. I think they're definitely. I did read that. I stayed away from Zeke in most of the leagues just because I read that they were going to use Pollard more and try to keep Zeke healthy so he can play the whole season and use more of a double-headed monster, if you want to call it
Like
that.
every other team's doing.
But he looks the part. Pollard looks faster, more explosive, and
I mean,
Zeke's just he's tough to tackle though. When he gets done, the Chargers couldn't get him.
No, I know.
But
you're right.
Did you have the same one?
No.
Oh, okay.
I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, he was a second, third round pick, or in most fantasy
he's a
leagues.
top 8 running back.
He's
off the
got,
board.
let's see here,
Top
he's
9.
got 27 carries for 89 yards, 3 catches for 29 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 fumble.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not
and
good.
in both my leagues, I drafted him. I was super high on him, and he's just been freaking a turd.
Yeah, I was high on him too. I think I know we mentioned him in our preseason.
Yeah.
I'm going Saquon. I think it could turn around, but he was the 10th running back on the board. He has 96 total yards, nothing else.
That's it's been rough there too.
No
But they've
catch-
been,
no,
they've been
not
throwing
even a
the
single
ball.
He might have a catch. He has 11 fantasy, so he has to have like one or two catches, but he has 11 points.
Jeez.
through
So-
2 games.
Through
That's
2 games.
bad.
He looked a little bit better against Washington because the first game he had like 2 points, I think, and last game he had 8. But still, like you're Saquon, you're going 10th running back off the board. You expect him.
You expect 25 carries, 100 yards.
or something.
Yeah,
he's just not be. I think it could turn around though. So who's your MVP? Is it Gronk?
Right now, my MVP, my fantasy MVP is Gronk. Just because you can get him so late, and if you have him on your team, you're probably 2-0. You know what I
Or
mean?
just, or you drafted George Kittle and refuse to start Gronk.
Yeah, both weeks.
You better hope you have
both
a
weeks,
flex in
yeah.
there. You better hope you have a flex spot you can slide him into. But he's
I might have to
the
agree
value.
with that. Yeah.
It's crazy,
Just
dude.
because of value. He was going in the 8th, 9th round.
If you have him, you're probably 2-0.
Yeah, I can see it, unless you played Kelsey or some other stud at tight end.
Even if you didn't play Gronk week 1, and I guarantee that they put him in a flex week 2.
Right, yeah. If you waited on him, you're golden.
Oh,
I'm gonna go Cooper Kupp.
Oh,
Dude's been a monster. I know he's
that was my
drafted a
next
little
guy.
bit higher,
I
but
told you, he's been
that
on
dude's the
fire.
number 1 wide receiver in the league.
Matt Stafford and him are on the same page.
Yeah,
If
14.
that guy stays healthy, he's top 5.
He's number 1 right now, and
He might
was
lead the league in
14th.
receiving.
He was 14th wide receiver in the draft, fantasy wise. But I mean, 23 and 36. It's not like he had a flash in the pan game where he had 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. No, it's been consistent, just boom,
Back
boom.
to back, what does he have? 3 or 4 touchdowns? I think 3.
I think 3 had 2 and 1. I think.
Okay.
So, all right. So that's it for fantasy. Let's. We'll be back after the break. After a word from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by IWV Legal. If you've been involved in an auto accident or have a pending criminal matter, attorney Abdul O'Day can help you get through it all. Call 760-321-3632. That's 760-321-3632. Call IWV Legal today for your free legal consultation. That's 760-321-3632. All right, now we're going to talk about other sports. We talk about football the whole time. Now let's get into some baseball. Bob,
Yo,
how you feeling about the Red Sox?
good right now. I like the last 6 games the Blue Jays and the Yankees play each other so they're going to eliminate one or the other. So Boston's kind of just going to walk in here.
The Yankees, I know, a month ago I said the Red Sox were going to fold a little bit and the Blue Jays and the Yankees were going to come back, take over the wild cards. It was there for a minute. The Yankees reeled off 13 in a row.
And then lost
And then-
13 in a row.
Then they said, just kidding.
They've lost, I think, 10 in a row.
They lost 11 of the 113, then they lose 11 of the next 13. Like,
Sorry.
if I'm a fan, I'm throwing up. Shout out Sam Miles. I know he's sweating because the Blue Jays won 10 in a row, I think, too. 9 out of 10. So right now it's Blue Jays, Red Sox.
Yes.
So
the A's,
we'll
I think,
see, dude.
the A's are 2.5 games back.
The A's and Seattle are playing each other 6 times, and they're two games back each,
Yeah.
I believe. So
That's what the Yankees and the Blue Jays are going to do too. So
No, the
Boston,
huge series in Boston. The Yankees play the Red Sox
right?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Yankees need a sweep, period. Because they
Have to sweep.
like you said, they played the
Absolutely.
Blue Jays
Six
six
games.
times. So it's going to be tough. I think the Red Sox are probably going to get in at this point just based on that fact.
Yeah.
And as soon as you saw me post the Orioles thing the other day, the Orioles were the key to everything. They're the worst team in baseball, and they're the key to the entire AL playoff wild card.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It was good. Then that next day, the Orioles go and beat the Yankees. I was like, Orioles. Spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
God. So, yeah, it looks like the AL wild card. Like I said, I got Boston. I love Toronto. I want to see Dodgers-Yankees World Series for as long as I've been alive. I just want to see that. You know how electric it would be?
Nobody else wants to see that.
What do you mean?
That would be the most watched World
Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see that. The two
Dodgers
biggest
versus the Yankees. Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see that nonsense.
Oh, man.
Two minor club teams. Come on.
And then the NL, the Giants just keep winning. I don't understand.
Dude, how?
They're only one game ahead. They're one game ahead of the Dodgers.
Everybody on their team bats .295. It's crazy.
It's absurd.
I don't get it. Mike Holm is just sweating right now. He's a Giants fan. He's been. We were waiting all year for them to just stop winning.
So
games.
projected, who do they get in the first? Well, who do they get in the first round?
The Cardinals are
the Cardinals. How hot are the Cardinals? They got a 3-game lead on the Reds right now.
They're catching fire.
They just swept the Padres, which basically eliminates the Padres.
They're only 2 or 3 games out.
Or 4.
4 right now.
Yeah,
but nine in a row at the right time.
Yeah, it's about
getting
hot
right going
now.
in.
They played the Reds and the Padres.
They'll have to
both teams that were hunting
they'll have to
for
play
the wild
Dodgers
card spot.
one game against the Dodgers for the wild card.
Yeah, Max Scherzer's not losing that game. He's 9-0 since he joined the team. The team hasn't lost when Scherzer pitches.
The hottest team in the league, though, the Cardinals.
I'm fine. If the Dodgers lose wild card, it'll be insane. But I don't think it's going to happen. I hope if the Giants do win,
scale of 1 to 10, how nervous would you be though?
0.
I mean, they're hot.
0.
Scherzer on the mound, you almost count
0.
7 innings
right.
of one hit.
The Cardinals did beat the Dodgers for like 10 years straight. Every year, I hated it.
Yeah,
they'd always eliminate them back in the early 2000s, I think it was. But yeah, no, 0 nerves. I think the Dodgers are going to get back there. I'm not really worried about anybody beating them.
No,
but
you know what their lead for the first wild card spot is?
Like
15 and a
games.
half games over the second wild card spot.
Yeah. I want the Giants, though. I want to eliminate those guys in the first, because if they win the wild card, they
play
the
the Giants.
I want that.
Yeah.
I want to take these suckers out. They've been tormenting me all year.
If they
I know.
lose,
I think the biggest thing though is like the run differential.
Yeah, it's like, what is it, 200 plus?
249 plus 249 for the Dodgers.
they're in the wild card.
Yeah, and they're in the wild card. Like that's almost laughable. You know,
Toronto's plus
Giants
175, and they might not make the playoffs.
Right. So I mean, like, you know, records set aside, you know, Dodgers are still probably the best baseball team out there, especially in the playoffs. I mean, come on, you know, they were World Series champs. Let's go
back to back. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll probably end up doing. I'll probably get the guys back. We'll do a baseball preview show once the playoffs are set. College football. You guys watch any college football last weekend or at all?
I watched a little bit of the Auburn game. Auburn's kind of disappointed. They basically gave that game away. Didn't like it.
Big win for Penn State and the Big Ten because Auburn, the Big Ten needs to beat the SEC. The SEC's been the story for years, and now Penn State gets a victory over Auburn. The Florida-Alabama game was wild. Alabama jumped up 21-3. All over social media, people were posting, told you Alabama was going to roll them, and I was like, crap, because I was on Florida. But it was the first quarter. At the very beginning of the second quarter, I was like, you probably shouldn't have posted that yet, bud. You can't cash the ticket yet. And then he's like,
right.
I'm that confident. And
then that didn't work out for you.
That did not age well.
Florida starts reeling off third down conversions.
Oh, it was the Florida looked good. They obviously started slow, but they battled back. So Florida looked impressive. Michigan State looks good to me.
They're really good.
Watch them. They'll get their chance. I mean, they're going to get to play Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. I'm not saying they're going to win the national title or anything, but I think they're 200-1 or something like that. They're 3-0. They just upset Miami, 24-ranked Miami. So we'll see. I know Kevin's probably listening right now, and he's going to, even though he's a Michigan State fan, he probably thinks I'm nuts. But we'll see. This week, I'm going to give out a pick just for why not. I'm going to take Arkansas, 16th ranked Arkansas at home as a 5.5-point dog against the 7th ranked Texas A&M Aggies. So if you want to bet with me, bet Arkansas money line.
I like it.
I think that's it. You guys got anything else? We got a UFC episode coming out Friday. Me and Bob are going to talk about the big pay-per-view event. Diaz and Lawler,
baby.
That's not the main event, but that's the
that
one.
is the main event. That's why we're I get a
is the main
casual
event.
fan knows they fight this Saturday, but they couldn't tell you the main event fight.
Correct. I mean,
You know what
I am excited for the main event.
I
Ortega
love
and
it.
Volkanovski
I think
and
Ortega wins that fight, just by the way. But that, like,
it's
if
giving
you
out
ask a casual
spoilers to
fan, like,
Friday?
Lawler Diaz fight this weekend, they assume that's the main event. Mm-hmm. They couldn't even tell you who and that they're not even the co-main. They're the third.
Yeah, because there's the other
The women's
Shevchenko
championship.
So, if you like the UFC, tune into that. That'll be out Friday. Other than that, just want to thank you guys for listening, the sponsors. And if you go in, you guys go in, mention Saying Out Loud Sports at the Sage Mart, you will get a free T-shirt while supplies last.
And they got cold beer over there at Beer Cave too.
We got cold beer, so
Ice cold.
next week we're gonna, same kind of thing. We'll do some more segments. We got football. We'll talk more baseball, maybe if the playoffs shape into form. Other than that, thanks for tuning in. We are out.